Hey everybody, and welcome to Slot HQ channel. I'm here today, going a bit old school, and just giving my first impressions and thoughts on Spider-Man 3, the classic PS2 and 360, I believe, or was it Xbox 360 and PS3? I'm playing it here now on the PC, and I'm just having a go and just thought I'd give you guys my thoughts and opinions on it. Well, first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the options like for your PC and stuff like that. Not that great, I think, is the best way to put it. I mean, you've got some of the basic stuff like basic quality, basic video quality and whatnot. Right here, as you see on the screen, I've got it on the max settings, so it looks okay. I mean, the game is a bit dated now. It's a couple of years old. No, it's more than a couple. It's like I think 6 or 8 years old now. So it's looking alright for a quite old game. Moving on from sheer options, we can talk about gameplay for a bit. The web slinging, which is obviously a monumental part in any kind of a Marvel game, is it's okay. I don't know if you guys played the the Spider-Man 2 video game, because that was alright. And it was and how you played was really cool. Like how you could, if you put it on the advanced settings, hold both lines, and you could manipulate yourself around a bit easier. And I found that the exclusion of that in this version was a bit lackluster. But yeah, that aside, the controls are very much like its predecessor, like Spider-Man 2. Obviously, I'm playing this on the PC, so it's a bit fiddly, but you get a hang of it pretty quickly, and you know, I'd say it could be worse. Moving on from controls, we could talk about gameplay and like the types of elements you see. The video you're going to see after this cutscene is just like one of the very different types of missions. It's one of the earlier ones. I thought I'd just put it in there. But it's like useful to see like the variety we get. This mission in particular will be starting off with Peter taking pictures of for the Daily Bugle about a supposed lizard sighting. Obviously, the lizard being one of Spider-Man's rogues gallery, probably one of his best, in my own personal opinion. So you'll see how the gameplay works, and it's in my opinion, it's not that great. The photography segments themselves, they're kind of the weaker parts of the game. I mean, I'm trying to think of positives and negatives for this game, so you'll see a difference in opinions as I keep talking. Other kinds of gameplay, the combat is a bit mix and mash. It's got some good sides, like some of the combos you can pull off are really really nice, and I really do enjoy them. But for the downsides is the counter system is awfully clunky. Yeah, perhaps beyond clunky actually. Just in my opinion, just downright awful. It's not used well. You got to hold a button down. And that's not very much Spider-Man like. Like in the predecessor, you just had to tap it, and it would do it. I don't know if that's just PC, but it's really a bit dire, with a lack of a better word to come in. Other parts of gameplay, general moving around is quite fine. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough. But it works, it could be tightened up a bit. Sometimes I feel like I can't measure Spider-Man's distance, especially with his jumping mechanic, because in his predecessor, again, Spider-Man 2, obviously I'm going to relate it to its predecessor. You had a charge bar, so you roughly knew how far you were going to jump when you released it. And with this one, you don't. It's a bit of a pick. I'm sure as the more I play it, the more I'll get used to it. But not to say it's a bit annoying. And here we are, like in the video, you can just see the photography mechanics. It's a bit dull. It could be so much better, but obviously this is one of the early missions. I'm guessing it gradually gets more exciting. I'm having a bit of trouble swinging. I had this problem throughout the game, but um, this was an interesting segue because it's going to bring on to the next segment, like unlockables in this game. You unlock a lot of Spider-Man's moves as you progress, and like what I really missed doing was I missed zip lining up buildings, and it's only like it's after this actual level that you get that ability, and it's like, oh, thank God, I've got it. So that's good. So the unlockables is quite from about the 2 or 3 hours I've played it. They're quite steady. You never feel like you're drolling on. You haven't unlocked anything. A lot of moves though, or at least a lot of the combo moves, you kind of just forget about. Like you could do them just for variety's sake, but they don't actually mesh into your core combat dynamic. Maybe that's just me being a bit lazy and just pressing the same buttons. But I found that I didn't really need to all that much. Oh, yeah, and yeah. So combat isn't that well thought out. It's okay. It's passable. Um, the nature of the game, like the sandbox environment, that's very good. There's nothing you can't really complain like for any of these Spider-Man games. The sandbox nature of it since Spider-Man 2, and Web of Shadows, Shattered Dimension not so much, but like when it's sandbox like this, they're really good because you can just mess around and piss about in them. Really, it's kind of ideal. Oh yeah, and I blew it here. I ended up not realizing that I had to take a picture and just jumped in. Because I thought I was obviously going to fight the bloody lizard, or a lizard. But say la vie. So yeah, like I'll redo the whole thing and I actually do what I'm supposed to. But yeah, like the jumping is alright. Combat's okay. Let me think. What other things can I discuss? Use of license. The use of license in the game is really good. Like you've got, but then again, the standard's already been set with other Spider-Man games, so they're normally quite good. They normally have a nice variety in the game of bosses, like from the Spider-Man repertoire. Like I don't know, like in this game the bosses aren't so amazing. That they're okay. I'm not gonna spoil anything, so obviously the lizard's in it because you've got this picture, and the lizard battle's all right. It also follows the movie to an extent. It pretty much did what Spider-Man 2 did. Had the basic plot of the film, but lacing it with loads of other villains, and like I think Rhino's in it and stuff like that. But I don't think the fights are nearly anywhere near as memorable as the predecessor. Like my favourite Spider-Man 2 fight was the fight with the Shocker. I don't know if any of you guys still remember that, but the way you could just jump on those turbines and send you flying up into the air, and you could dodge his shockwaves and stuff. That was really really cool, and you don't get so much in this game. One thing I haven't touched on you'll see I think after we take out these goons. Like I said, combat isn't that great. It's pretty simple. I love doing this move in particular. It's simple to do. You can spam it, at least against these light armored people. And there's no bother, and you just keep tapping light and heavy, because there's 2 attack buttons and there's a webbing button. So you just do that, and then boom, we come to another gameplay element: Spider Sense. You toggle Spider Sense. It's like a toggling ability, a bit like more recently Batman's Detective Vision. Nowhere near as cool though. But it doesn't last forever, so it's a bit more balanced, I guess. But it's a useful little feature. Normally they just have you following trails and stuff, and in this segment what happens is I follow one trail of the lizard's tracks, but they're the wrong one. So I end up correcting that mistake and crawling up the wall. Now this is the biggest criticism I have with this game. And it's probably the one thing that lets this game down the most. It's the camera. If you can't tell, the camera is being as dodgy as hell. And it's such a buzzkill. It's so annoying, and you can barely fix it. You can move the camera bit by bit, but it's not that great. And when you're swinging and stuff, it really messes up, and it really needs to be fixed. But that's just the price, I guess, of a game coming out with a film. It's being rushed. Treyarch didn't give it the touching care it deserved, really. So they just, you just deal with it, and yeah. But I mean, if I was to complain about anything about this game, it would just be the camera. It's just crap. But here I am, just running around, following the trail. Boom, cutscene. Ooh, I found the lizard. Another photography segment. I'll take another picture of it. Just chilling out mostly. It's it's light-hearted game. I mean, these Spider-Man games, they're never deep, or they're never particularly hard or anything. Obviously, they're aimed at a right demographic. So anybody who just wants, if this is more of a chillaxing game where you just chill out, if you can get over the controls and being all fiddly. But yeah, it could be better. It could be worse though. But yeah, this is my Spider-Man video. It looks like it was a good game. I'd give it maybe a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10, something like that. And that's not a bad score. 5 out of 10, that's halfway there. It's a halfway decent game. It's not like the best game ever that came out in its year. Nowhere near, but it was alright. It could have been a lot worse, and I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. It's gonna, I'm gonna cut off here in a bit. Subscribe, whatever, the usual doodah. More content coming your way. I'm going to try and play all the Spider-Man games, like Web of Shadows, that new one, Shattered Dimensions. Shattered Dimensions, and possibly that one afterwards. I've forgotten. So this is just to move into doing the Spectacular Spider-Man come August when it comes out, because I'm really looking forward to that. It should be interesting to play. Hopefully there's some new changes and stuff. But that's the plan for now. It's going to change, obviously. I keep changing with the mood. So catch you all later. Take care, and so long.